Okay, continuing with the Bible reading. Um, that'll be Genesis chapter 9. Okay, see if we got a connection here. Got everything going here. Okay, and God blessed Noah and his sons and said to them, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. The fear of you and the terror of you will be on every beast of the earth, on every bird of the sky, with everything that creeps on the ground, and all the fish in the sea. Into your hand they are given. Every moving thing that is alive shall be food for you. I give all to you as I gave the green plant. Okay, here's a change, right? This is a little bit different than before, whereas he gave all the green plants for food. Now he gives um, everything. Every moving thing that is alive shall be food for you. I give to you as I gave the green plants. So it seems clear to me that something changed here. And I don't know what's going on here, but something's weird. But anyway, I'll just keep on going. Maybe I'm not looking at the right one. I don't know. Okay. Only you shall not eat the flesh with its life, that is the blood. Surely I will require your lifeblood from every beast. I will require it from every man. From every man's brother I will require the life of a man. Whoever sheds a man's blood, by his blood, by man his blood shall be shed. For in the image of God he made man. As for you, be fruitful and multiply, populate the earth abundantly and multiply in it. Then God spoke to Noah and his sons with him, saying, now behold, I myself do establish my covenant with you and with your descendants after you, and every living creature that is with you, the birds, the cattle, every beast of the earth, shall be with you. All of that comes out of the ark, even every beast of the earth. I establish my covenant with you, and all flesh shall never again be cut off by water of the flood, neither shall there again be a flood to destroy the earth. God said, this is the sign of the covenant which I am making between me and you and every living creature that is with you for all successive generations. I set my bow in the clouds, my bow in the clouds. It shall be a sign for you, a covenant between me and the earth. It shall come about when I bring a cloud over the earth that the bow will be seen in the cloud, and I will remember my covenant, which is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh, and never again shall water become a flood to destroy all flesh. When the bow is in the cloud, I will look upon it to remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is on earth. God said to Noah, this is the sign of the covenant which I have established between me and all flesh that is on earth. Okay, this seems to be a change too from the original. Um, somehow the pressure, atmospheric pressure decreased after the flood so that there were clouds and rainbows. It's a possibility anyway, right? Seems seems pretty like a good possibility to me. Okay. Now the sons of Noah who came out of the ark were Shem and Ham and Japheth, and Ham was the father of Canaan. These three were the sons of Noah. From these the whole earth was populated. This is our history of mankind. Then Noah began farming and planted a vineyard. He drank of the wine and became drunk, and uncovered himself inside his tent. Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father and told his two brothers outside. But Shem and Japheth took a garment and laid it upon both their shoulders and walked backwards and covered the nakedness of their father, and their faces were turned away so that they did not see their father's nakedness. When Noah woke from his wine, he knew what his youngest son had done to him. So he said, "Cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants he shall be to his brothers." Also he said, "Blessed be the Lord, the God of Shem, and let Canaan be his servant. May God enlarge Japheth, and let him dwell in the tents of Shem, and let Canaan be his servant." Noah lived 350 years after the flood, so all the days of Noah were 950 years, and he died. Okay, Canaan obviously is not Mitzrayim, who went to Africa, nor any of the others who went to Africa, who were the sons of Shem. Sons of Ham. So it doesn't seem like anyway. There's people that would say that the sons of Ham are cursed, but it was actually Canaan who was cursed, and Canaan is not the other sons of Ham. There were many other sons of Ham, Mitzrayim being one of them, who founded Egypt and Africa, and other people, it seems. Um, Noah lived 350 years after the flood, so all the days of Noah were 950 years, and he died. Some nice even numbers there. Okay. Well, I'm not even sure if this thing is being broadcast, but anyway, it's supposed to be live. It's not one thing, it's another. Genesis chapter 10. Now these are the records of the generations of Shem, Ham, and Japheth, the sons of Noah, the sons who were born after them, after the flood, born to them after the flood. The sons of Japheth were Gomer, and Magog, and Madai, and Javan, and Tubal, Meshach, and Tiras. Sons of Gomer were Ashkenaz, and Riphath, Togarmah, or Togarmah. Sons of Javan were Elisha, and Tarshish, Kittim, Doadim. From these, the coastlands of the nations were separated into their lands, everyone according to his language, according to their families, into their nations. Okay, so there was quite a few sons of Japheth, and they went to their nations. Sons of Ham were Cush, Mitzrayim, and Put, and Canaan. Sons of Cush were Seba, Havilah, Sabta, Ramah, and Sabteka. The sons of Ramah were Sheba and Dan, or Dedan. Now Cush became the father of Nimrod. He became a mighty one on the earth. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Therefore it is said, like Nimrod, a mighty hunter before the Lord. The beginning of his kingdom was Babel, Erech, Akkad, Calneh, in the land of Shinar. From that land he went forth into Assyria and built Nineveh, Rehoboth, Ir, and Calah. And Rezin between Nineveh and Calah, that is the great city. Mitzrayim became the father of Ludim and Ananim and Rehabim and Naphtuhim and Pathrushim and Casluhim, from which came the Philistines, and Caphtorim. Okay, so the Philistines came from Mitzrayim, and actually Mitzrayim controlled that entire area, or Egypt controlled the entire area from Egypt through the land of the Philistines all the way up to even higher up at one time, until Israel left Egypt. Canaan became the father of Sidon, his firstborn, Heth, and Jebusite, and the Amorite, and the Girgashite, and the Hivite, and the Archite, and the Sinite, and the Arvadite, and the Zemarite, and the Hamathite. And afterward the families of the Canaanite were spread abroad. The territory of the Canaanite extended from Sidon as you go toward Gehar as far as Gaza. As you look toward Sodom and Gomorrah and Admah and Zebolim as far as Lasha. These are the sons of Ham according so the sons of Ham, I lost my place. These are the sons of Ham according to their families, according to their languages, by their lands, by their nations. Also to Shem, the father of all the children of Eber, and the older brother of Japheth, children were born. Sons of Shem were Elam, Asher, Arshpad, Lud, Amram. Sons of Aram were Uz, Hul, Gether, and Mash. Arpachshad became the father of Shelah. Shelah became the father of Eber. Two sons were born to Eber. The name of one was Peleg, for in the days of the earth, for in his days the earth was divided, and his brother's name was Joktan. Joktan became the father of Almod, and Shelef, and Hazar, Mavith, and Jerah, and Hadaram, and Uzal, and Diklal, and Obal, and Abimael, and Sheba, and Ophir, and Havilah, and Jobab. All these were sons of Joktan. Now their settlements extended from Mesha as you go towards Sephir, the hill country of the east. These are the sons of Shem according to their families, according to their languages, by their lands, according to their nations. These are the families of sons of Noah according to the genealogies by their nations, and out of these nations were separated on the earth after the flood. Okay, there's an interesting side note here about the two sons were born to Eber. The name of one was Peleg, for in his days the earth was divided. Now this Peleg was born like just before the confusion of the languages at the Tower of Babel. It was about 100 years after the global flood, but I interpret this to mean that the land was literally divided because it occurred somewhat before the time that the languages were confused. So languages were confused, it seems, after the earth was divided. And when it says the earth was divided, I believe that is literal. I believe that the continents broke up at that time, and the Atlantic, mid-Atlantic ridge was formed from the continents being divided. And they broke apart is about 100 years after the global flood, after the rock layers hardened up. And of course, if you have hardened layers, it's going to break apart in some places. And that, together with a possible meteorite strike, or asteroid strike, or whatever, it seems like North and South America were separated from Europe and Africa, and the plate slid over, and on the other side of the Pacific Ocean is you can see where it folded under with huge amounts of pressure from the ocean. The Earth's crust kind of folded under at the Pacific Rim area. Okay, that seems to be what the evidence is to me. The Mid-Atlantic Ridge, of course, is younger than the Pacific spreading, the Pacific Ocean. I believe about like 100 years. And to back it up, we have jaguars and leopards, which are the same animal, basically. There are also, come to find out, different animals that are called, well, they call them badgers in Africa, the honey badger, which is really actually a weasel. And they have the same weasels in the Americas, only the coats are slightly different, but they're almost exactly the same thing. Of course, there's the Tyra. It's a little bit different. It's more like weasel-like. I guess it's more of a tree climber. And there's another one that I found in the Amazon rainforest that nobody has ever documented, I don't think. And the other one looks almost exactly like the honey badger, only the markings are slightly different than the honey badger, but it looks almost identical to the honey badger. But anyways, so the South America and Africa were separated, and it seems like the northern part of Africa was also separated from the United States, is where it seems to line up. Okay. So that seems to have been something that was recorded in the Bible, a little detail in the Bible, which seems to line up with what we see as far as evidence in our geology. Genesis 11. Now the whole earth used the same language and the same words. It came about as they journeyed east that they found a plain in the land of Shinar and settled there. And they said to one another, "Come, let us make bricks, burn them thoroughly." And they used bricks for stone, and they used tar for mortar. They said, "Come, let us build up for ourselves a city and a tower whose top will reach the heavens, and let us make for ourselves a name, otherwise we will be scattered abroad over the face of the whole earth." And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the sons of men had built, and the Lord said, "Behold, they are one people, they have the same language, and this is what they began to do. And now nothing which they propose to do will be impossible for them." Which this sentiment here seems to be pretty much of what's happening today. Now, nothing which they propose to do will be impossible for them. You may not realize, but technology is moving at a rate which is very impressive, and there is a lot in the future that's coming shortly through technology that is very, very impressive. It's going to change a lot the way the world is, the way people are, the way people think. It's just going crazy because of the fact that um, people are essentially little gods, and they can do whatever they want to do, and you can be surprised what men will be able to do in the near future. Okay, so God says, "Come, let us go down there and confuse their language so that they will not understand one another's speech." So the Lord scattered them abroad over the face of the whole earth, and they stopped building the city. Therefore, its name was called Babel, because there the Lord confused the language of the whole earth, and from there the Lord scattered them abroad over the face of the whole earth. These are the records of the generations of Shem. Shem was 100 years old and became the father of Arpachshad 2 years after the flood. And Shem lived 500 years, and he became the father of Arpachshad, and he had other sons. He lived 500 years after he became father of Arpachshad. Keep reading it wrong. Arpachshad lived 35 years and became the father of Shelah. And Arpachshad lived 400 years and three years after he became the father of Shelah, and he had other sons and daughters. Shelah lived 30 years. He became the father of Eber. And Shelah lived for 400 years and 3 years after he became the father of Eber, and he had other sons and daughters. Eber lived 34 years and became the father of Peleg, and Eber lived 430 years after he became the father of Peleg, and he had other sons and daughters. Peleg lived 30 years and became the father of Reu, and Peleg lived 209 years after he became the father of Rehu, and he had other sons and daughters. Reu lived 32 years and became the father of Sherug, and Reu lived 207 years after he became the father of Sherug, and he had other sons and daughters. Sherug lived 30 years and became the father of Nahor, and Sherug lived 200 years after he became the father of Nahor, and he had other sons and daughters. Nahor lived 29 years and became the father of Terah, and Nahor lived 119 years. He became the father of Terah, and he had other sons and daughters. Terah lived 70 years and became the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Now these are the records of the generations of Terah. Terah became the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran became the father of Lot. Haran died in the presence of his father Terah in the land of his birth in Ur of the Chaldeans, which is Sumerian city. Abraham and Nahor took wives for themselves, and the name of Abraham's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife was Milcah, and the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah, and Ishka. Okay. Sarai was barren, she had no child. Terah took Abram his son, and Lot the son of Haran his grandson, and Sarai his daughter-in-law, and his son Abram's wife, and they went out together from Ur of the Chaldeans in order to enter the land of Canaan, and they went as far as Haran and settled there. The days of Terah were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. Okay, this is setting up for the birth of Israel. Okay, so I guess I'm going to quit here because I'm not even sure if this thing's working again. It's making no sense to me. I don't know. But anyways, God bless everyone. I hope everyone has a great weekend, and be having more Bible studies in the future, God permitting. So.